Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I'm IATF qualified auditor doing audit for the automotive sector for the last 18 years. I'm again back with a very interesting topic. What exactly is competency? Well, in our day-to-day life, if you look around, say for example, your vehicle is broke down and you go to a nearby garage. When you're talking to that person, the way in which that person is talking, the kind of confidence that person is giving, or maybe the kind of possible solution that person is giving, you get an idea that whether that particular person is competent to do this particular job and whether your car will be right or not. Maybe you can take another scenario that there is some problem at your house and you call a sanitary person. By the way in which that person is talking and giving some possible solutions that why this particular problem has come, you get the idea that whether this particular is competent to do this job or not. Something similar is happening in any industry. So if you talk about a definition part, as per ISO 9000:2015, the definition of competency is, it is an ability to apply knowledge and skills to achieve the intended results. So here the two keywords are there. One is the knowledge and the second is skill. When we talk about knowledge, it talks about three key things. It's about experience, education and training. So when we combine these four things, education, experience, training and skill, and when we know that the person can deliver that based on all these four things, then there is a very high possibility that whatever is the intended result, that can be achieved. Now, if we talk about ISO 9001 as well as IATF 16949, they're talking about that how to make sure that in an organization, whenever we are selecting any person, or in case we are trying to put a particular person in a particular job, how we can make sure about that. So let's take one example with respect to that. So as I already told you that in competency we are talking about four key things. So the first thing is with respect to education. So when we talk about education, primarily our intent is to ensure that the person has got some basic knowledge with respect to a particular thing. Because generally we say that education is a backbone for any individual when a person is working in an organization. Because when a person is educated, it helps the person to develop and generate some cognitive skills, maybe the critical thinking, or it can be some physical abilities to establish some values and belief, and the person knows that what is right and what can be the possible solution to it. To give an example about it, let's take two key examples, one with respect to an operator who is working in a machine, and second with respect to an employee who is working in a particular office, say for example. So let's take an example of a machine shop where there is a CNC machine which is having some sort of a software programming. So the education may be at least ITI in electronics or maybe in computers, so that a person is aware some basic things about that. Another example, in case we are looking for a product design process for a mechanical component, now for that we need a product designer. So maybe the minimum education qualification can be diploma or engineer in mechanical engineering. So that can be something that we can define about that. Now coming to point number 2 about experience. So when we talk about experience, primarily our intent is that a person is aware about certain things by working in industry, so that whenever something is happening, that person can have some broader knowledge with respect to that particular thing, and that particular person can use that particular knowledge to do the particular thing. So for example, again taking the same example of a CNC machine, now in this particular case, when we talk about the experience, well, it can be that a person should have at least 6 months of experience working on a CNC machine. And when we talk about a product designer, so maybe the experience can be at least 2 years of experience in similar kind of industry, or maybe in the similar product line, that we can define that. Now that brings point number 3 about training. So when we talk about training, primarily our intent is that as the things are changing, technology is advancing, so whether the person is upgrading their knowledge as per the requirement or not, because when we talk about training, it helps the person to become more efficient, more productive, and it helps the organization to have more flexibility and stability, and certainly it also improves the morale whenever somebody is giving a training from time to time. So Again, taking the same example with respect to a CNC machine operator, maybe in this particular case, we can expect that either the organization will give some on-job training, say for example a month or so, or maybe we can expect that a person coming from a previous company can show some training record with respect to operating the CNC machine. And when we talk about a product designer, maybe a specific thing can be the person should have got a training of maybe 3 to 6 months on CATIA software in case the company is using that, or maybe a person can use a similar kind of certificate from the previous organization in case something like that is happened. Now coming to point number 4, which is most important, skill. So when we talk about skill, primarily we are talking about the expertise or the talent which is needed in order to do a particular job or task. Because when we talk about skill, it allows a person to do that particular job in a very, very effective manner. And there can be many more examples. Say for example, think about flight landing. Now there can be a very soft landing and there can be a very hard landing which you can remember for many days and weeks. Everything is same, the procedure is same, aeroplane is same, all the guidelines are same, but it all depends on the skill of that particular pilot when he's using that. And something similar can be with respect to any person who is driving a car. Maybe one person at the same speed will be driving very smoothly, but another person will be giving a lot of jerks and zigzag motion while driving at the same speed in the same location. Now, giving the same example with respect to the CNC machine, with respect to the skill, it could be the person should have a skill to identify any malfunction in the machine. It could be with respect to noise or vibration, or a person should be able to identify any fault which is coming in the product just by looking into the product. And when we talk about a product designer, in that particular case, maybe the skill could be the person could identify the bugs which is coming in the software, and the person can also find some sort of possible solutions that how that particular thing can be taken care of. So if we talk about some of the industry challenges with respect to identifying the competencies, first and the single most important challenge is that how often we are identifying the competency based on the 4 key indicators, which is education, experience, training and skill. The second key challenge is that even if we are identifying the desired competencies, do we actually make sure that whenever we are hiring a particular person or we are deputing someone internally, we make sure that person has got all the 4 key competencies which are required? And third, and the most important thing is that do we regularly monitor and verify that the person who is working on a particular job has got that desired competency, or things have changed from time to time? So if I do a summary, I talked about competency, I talked about the 4 key competency with respect to education, experience, training and skill, and then we talked about some of the examples with respect to that and the industry challenges. My next video will be exactly in line with that. This time I'm going to talk about competency mapping. Well, regularly I'm getting a lot of feedback from your side and they're helping me to understand your expectation. So please do continue that. And in case you want to understand a little bit more about this particular video, you'll find a link below. If you click that, you'll find a blog there. And there you'll find this information in much more detail. And in case you are liking these kind of videos and blogs, you can always share with your friends and colleagues. And you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website, bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.